Basic Appraisal Principles, page 430. Scarcity. Scarcity is, by definition, is an insufficient supply of something. A scarcity of real estate implies that there is an insufficient amount of real estate available to meet the demand of the consumers. For instance, buyers, investors, developers, thus making it more valuable. For real estate to have value, it must have utility and scarcity. For example, a defined market has an abundant supply of land available. However, land that typical buyers in this market would consider useful and desirable, the utility is scarce. The parcels of land that have a high utility, for instance, considered useful and desirable, will be more valuable than other parcels that do not have the same utility. The combination of scarcity and utility give this kind of land higher value. When only one of these factors exist, scarcity or utility, there is no economic value. For example, air is a commodity that has significant utility. It's useful and desirable by consumers. However, because air is abundant, it is not a scarce commodity. No economic value is produced. Demand. Desire and effective purchasing power. Demand in real estate is defined as the amounts of the type of property desired for purchase or rent at various prices in a given market at a given time. Desire. In terms of real estate, desire is the purchaser's wish for an item to satisfy that purchaser's basic needs, shelter, and wants. 2-story, large kitchen, large lot, granite counters, cul-de-sac location, one-level living, etc. This might also be called the wish list of items that buyers look for in their next real estate purchase. Effective purchasing power. The ability of a consumer to participate in a market to purchase goods or services with cash or its equivalent is its effective purchasing power. The consumer must have the ability to pay for the real estate either through cash or financing a loan. A person's desire for specific real estate is limited by that person's ability to pay for it. For instance, effective purchasing power. For example, Jim and Sandy really want to purchase a home in a particular neighborhood in a specific market. The home meets all their criteria, desires. 2-story home with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3-car garage, outdoor pool, large kitchen with granite counters, separate dining room, home theater, and location on a large lot within 10 minutes of the freeway. This home is listed on the market for $550,000. However, Jim and Sandy's lender has just informed them that based on their income levels, they only qualify for a $375,000 loan. Jim and Sandy's effective purchasing power has limited their potential to fulfill all their wants and needs, desires in real estate. They will have to modify their wish list. Buyers might have a long list of desires, but their effective purchasing power will dictate their ability to purchase the real estate. Over time, the demand for real estate changes based on the desires and effective purchasing power of the buyers. Page 431. For example, from 2006 to 2008, low interest rates and easily available credit created an influx of buyers, many of whom were considered subprime borrowers. The increase in consumers desiring to purchase homes increased home ownership rates and increased the overall demand for real estate. The presence of desire and effective purchasing power created the demand and resulted in the home ownership rates rising to an all-time high of 69.2%. A major contributor to the increase in home ownership was subprime lending. Many of these loans were adjustable rate mortgages. After the initial period, the rate on the mortgage increased and thus the monthly payment required increase. Some of these people were able to refinance their mortgages to establish a monthly payment they could afford. However, some could not negotiate a refinance because their income levels were no longer acceptable. As a result, these homeowners defaulted on their loans, eventually losing their homes to foreclosure. Due to the homeowners' change in effective purchasing power, there was an influx of foreclosed homes on the market, thus affecting the value of all homes on the market. Transferability. Transferability is the ability of ownership rights to be transferred from buyer to seller. The value of a property is affected by the extent to which those rights transfer. A property that has all ownership rights, the complete bundle of rights, will likely have more value than if it only has partial rights transferred. For example, encumbrances on a property, such as an easement, have the potential to affect value. For example, Sam owns a 3-acre property that is subject to an easement owned by a railroad company. The railroad tracks run parallel to the northern lot line on the property. A prospective buyer would like to build a house on the property, but isn't thrilled about railroad tracks in the backyard. The value of the property is substantially reduced because of the easement. Principle of competition. The principle of competition is the result of many buyers and sellers in a market vying for the same or similar real estate. The sellers are competing with other sellers, and buyers are competing with other buyers. This competition causes prices or values to change in response to the changes in supply and demand. Competition might have a dramatic impact on the value of property, especially income-producing property. For example, if one convenience store in a neighborhood is extremely profitable, its success is likely to bring a competing convenience store into the area. This competition will probably mean lower profits for the first store as its customers begin doing business with the second store. The lower profits will reduce the property's value. Extra note, something about competition runs the price.